Black American over African American, because I'm not African. I don't know nothing about African culture. Okay? I know what hot dogs, hamburgers, french fries is, and I'm from the South. We do mac and cheese, chicken, and crab boils. Okay? I don't see them. Do they do crab boils in Africa? No. How the hell am I African American? I don't see them eating crab legs and blue crab and shrimp and shit, like crawfish. Those are Black American things. We don't do that over there. How the hell we African? Stop the madness. Don't call me that no more.
Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. In case you're new here, my name is Maren.
And I'm Maureen.
Yeah, so today we are going to be reacting to videos that I'd say are a little bit controversial, right?
Right, because guys, so during our journey of reaction videos, we've come to realize that there are different groups of Black Americans in America.
Right.
There is a group that doesn't mind being called African American, but there is a group that doesn't want to be associated with being African American. They'd rather call themselves Black Americans, and then this is because they said that they are a group called Foundational Black Americans. I have never heard of that term personally until when we started doing reaction videos. It's when we started hearing of this Foundational Black Americans, and then we realized that there is a group that doesn't mind actually being called African American, and these ones, they call themselves descendants of slaves, you know. And then I mean, I don't know, it kind of confuses me a bit.
Right, and then explain to me who the Creoles are. This, I believe, is an educative platform because we all want to know,
learn.
Right?
I genuinely want to learn as an African because we've also heard of the term Creole. Yeah, and most of the people who are being called Creole, are they from Caribbean, I suppose?
I'm not sure.
I'm not
then
sure.
There's mulattoes. Mulattoes, we know, is a mixture
of, yes, we know.
But
the
guys,
mulattoes.
before we talk so much, because all this is confusing, let's just watch this video and then we come back and talk about it.
But before we head on to watch the video, guys, if you come to Africa and ask Africans, what do you refer to as Black Americans? It's not actually because of ignorance. Africans just genuinely don't know that there are different groups of Black Americans. Africans, when you ask them how to refer to blacks in America, they'd refer to them as African American or Black American. To them, it's all the same thing. And to us, up until recently, when we started doing reaction videos, it also used to be the same thing.
Until it
wasn't. You would hear many different terminologies of Black people in the comment section. And then we decided to do a little research. But let's watch these videos and then we come back and talk about it.
I want to take the African part of African American off of African Americans, of Black people in America who were born here. I don't know, there's just something about it. White people are not called European Americans, Scottish Americans, British Americans. They're just Americans or Caucasian. So I think we should just be Black. Black Americans. Cool. Or brown Americans. If you're born here, you're American. I don't know. I think there's something there that doesn't sit well.
Black people and Africans don't even look the same. I mean, look at Black Americans and then look at people from West Africa. You can clearly see that we're different. We don't look the same. So I can understand why Black people have no need to connect to Africa. This is totally false. So many of us have a very generalized view of looking at African culture. This is why we say things like Africans sold other Africans, because what we do not acknowledge the various cultures that existed for hundreds, thousands of years on the continent of Africa, but we show that same degree of respect to cultures in Western Europe. So we'll be quick to discern between a Viking or Visigoth and a Roman, or a person on the British Isles and the people of Gaul, or the Vandals of the ancient Iberian Peninsula, or the Greeks, etc. Although phenotypically you could just say they look the same if you want to buy into the concept of race, but we acknowledge the difference in culture. But it seems like we don't extend that to West Africa. Like, we wouldn't be willing to look at a person that's Mende and discern between them and a Wolof. We won't look at a person that is Fonte and discern between them and somebody that's Igbo. We won't look at somebody that's Hausa and discern between them and maybe a hunter-gatherer like, you know, the Hadza people. We're just looking at it black and phenotype. And even with phenotype, we get it wrong, because if you look at, like, you know, people like the Nuer of Sudan, you know, their phenotype is definitely different from the people of Aswan in Egypt, versus the people in Uganda, versus a lot of the groups in Uganda, excuse me. So there's a lot of difference in phenotype. Africa has a polytypic phenotype, just like many Black Americans are going to look vastly different from one another. So it's something that we have to question, because I think when we say Black people don't look like Africans, we kind of buy into a racist narrative of just there's a generic African phenotype when there isn't one. It doesn't exist. Prior to colonialism, any of these events, there was a myriad of phenotypes on the continent. So it's hard to say when you say Black people don't look like Africans, like, what do you mean by that? And also it can open the door for a lot of crazy, wonky theories, like people are Israelites or indigenous, but that's a whole different conversation. So Africans have a polytypic phenotype. Black people have a polytypic phenotype. We're not a monolith. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Peace.
Before we get to our own dialogue, I have to address something for y'all, because so many have asked, do I say Black people or African American? And the simple and shortest answer is Black, because it's not only most accurate, it's also least offensive. Keep in mind, not all Black people in America are African. There are Jamaicans, there are Cubans, but also there's some Black people that don't identify as African because that heritage got stripped from them during slavery. So just a quick short answer. I know so many of y'all asked that question.
So guys, welcome back. And you've had to hear what our brothers have said. And like they said, there's that second brother who really took offense in being called, like, they really do not want to be called African American. He's like, take the African out of American and let it just be Black American or Brown American, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many of you in the comment sections, for those who are watching us right now, for both Black Americans, let me just say Black Americans, because I don't want to offend anybody. How do you guys refer to as yourselves, and why do you refer to as yourselves like that? We want to learn through you guys to better understand the demography of Black Americans in America.
And then it's all confusing, guys, because when we watch movies, allow me to just use that, because I know a lot of you have
the closest thing we have to
reference point.
Yes.
So when you watch movies, normally when a cop talks about a Black person in America, they say African American, right? And then here in Africa, what we believe, or what we've been taught to believe, is that the reason why we believe every Black person, or we used to know every Black person as African American in America, they're referred to African American, is because Africans who are taken from Africa were taken to America, and then Black people, that is what Africans know, okay?
Yes.
And then all the Black Americans who are there now,
they're offsprings of slaves, all of them, not just one or two groups,
right.
All of them.
That is what Africans know.
Now we've come to know that before Columbus, we've recently just come to know that before Columbus there existed Black people in America, and maybe that is why foundational Blacks, that is why they say they are not of African descent. But you know, again, I'd beg to ask, if life originated in Africa, how did foundational Black... I don't want to step on anybody. I just genuinely want to understand, how did the foundational Black Americans get to America if they didn't come from Africa?
Yes,
even white people, even if they came from the Caucasus Mountain, life began in Africa.
Right?
I don't know.
Guys, this is so confusing.
It is.
Let us know what you think about this episode. We'd really like to hear from you. And it's an educative platform. Let's interact, right? Like, I don't know. It's very confusing. But there's a sister who was arguing that Black Americans have, now that one I'm not even arguing, Black Americans and Africans totally different cultures.
Just like here in Kenya, we have now
Tribes.
48 tribes, because Indians have also been included in the tribes of Kenya. So I can't even begin to presume that the Kikuyu culture will be the same as the Luo culture.
Just because we are all black.
So I understand the American culture in general, Black American culture, it is different from African culture. Jamaican culture, somewhat different from African culture, you know. So there I don't even argue. But aren't we all black?
And
I mean, I don't know.
but you guys, let us know where the offense comes in when they call you African Americans, because today we want to learn, right?
Yeah,
and today we want any African
push
watching,
the mantle on you,
right? And we want any African who's watching this video to get some
knowledge
from it,
long due knowledge, yes, because right now up until this stage we've come to realize that there's those African Americans who genuinely don't mind being called that. Others even like it when you refer to them as that because it reminds them of their roots or heritage of their ancestors, let's say.
But a lot of you don't
but
like
a
that
lot
term.
of you don't like that term African American.
And then there was someone who rightfully so was arguing the only person who deserves to be called an African American is an African who
has migrated to America and then is now settled in America.
And then
now that person you should call an African American.
And then if they go on to give birth to a child, that child is an African, definitely an African American. But then if you look at that argument, I'm also going back to
slavery and
you know,
the guys, it's difficult a bit. Even the foundational blacks, before America was America, wasn't the world just one big continent? How did the hunters and gatherers, the black hunters and gatherers, reach America to be, I don't know, to be foundational blacks?
Guys, the mantle, passing the mantle on to you
guys.
Let us know what you think about this episode. We really appreciate you for tuning in once again.
Yeah, and for this one, I really am looking forward to
your comments.
Because I really want to know. I don't want to be scratching my head all the time because, as they say, kind of 2024 is the new age of information,
where things are getting
revealed. And we've really educated ourselves a lot in 2024. Information was just coming to us. We just didn't go out there to look for it, but it found us, you know. And I appreciate God for that. Otherwise, I'd also be moving in a lot of my own ignorance.
I know a lot of Africans do.
Yes. So guys, let us know what you think about this episode. And if you're new to this channel and you've not subscribed, please kindly remember to subscribe. And we'll see you on our next episode.